we may have a minor ACS fault here. Do you have anything on your scope? Sierra Delta, repeat.
What's going on, guys? LoganJYA Drytron back at it again with Drytron 23.0, and if you guys are looking at this, you can see this is a long video. Not only do we have a full in-depth deck profile on this particular Bystial ready build, but we also have multiple, not one, not two, but 3 test hands at the end of this video, which you're definitely going to want to stick around and check out. If you want to see that stuff, you can skip to the end. If you want to see the profile, you'll watch the beginning part. It's a long one, guys, but you can pick and choose where you want to be. Anyway, folks, let's get into this brand new Drytron 23.0. Let's get into it, baby. Alright, guys, you already know who it be. Drytron, LoganJYA, back again with version 23.0 of my Drytrons, and this is a pretty decent take. It's basically an upgrade to 22.0 because we're sticking to a very similar playstyle going forward. We're just trying to be more Bystial ready with this build. And there are a few things that I would consider changing that I'm going to point out to you guys. So you're definitely going to want to watch and listen with audio on so you can hear those changes that I would consider making. And I'm going to be testing, and I want to hear from you guys if you test what your results have been with these particular cards. So this build isn't a big divergent from 22.0, but we've made some keynote changes in the main and side deck that are really going to be reflective here. And at the end, we are going to do test hands. We are doing real 5-card test hands to see what we can do going first, and there may or may not be some interruption thrown our way. So stick around to the end if you want to see how we play it out with a full hand. It's going to be a good idea for you guys as to how this deck functions at its best. So let's dive in to this deck profile. Starting things off, the monster count, you already know what we're doing. Triple copies of Alpha Thub, and that will never change. Triple copies of Zeta, that will never change. Now, here's something we stuck with from the last one. Still only doing 1 Gamma and 1 Delta in this particular build. And, okay, don't crucify me in the comments. I'm begging you. Beta! That's right, I am choosing to play 1 copy of Beta in this build. It is our 5th name, and I know if I've said it in the past. If you play Beta, then you're a Beta. Well, guess what? I'm a freaking Beta today, and I'm choosing to play Beta. So let me explain to you my reasoning behind this, okay? Playing the 1 Beta lets us safely play the 1 of Delta and the 1 of Gamma in a 40-card anti-Bystial Drytron list. If our Delta or Gamma gets DD crowed or Bystial banished, we can bring it back with the Beta. And of course, if the opponent is a dingus or is trying to stop us from resolving the effect of a Ben 10 that's in our hand, they're going to hit it early before we activate the effects of Delta and or Gamma, and then we can loop them back around later with the Beta. It's also good because after we establish our first turn board, say the opponent is attempting to break it, and they're removing names from our graveyard with the Bystial cards that they're playing with on their own turn, we can loop them right on back into the grave with Beta. It does serve a purpose this time around. Do I still think it's the worst Drytron name? By far, 100%. It sucks. This card sucks. But it serves a purpose here. And that's why I'm choosing to play. I've been testing it, and it's been doing me good. There's been several times where I've actually returned Drytron names back into the graveyard with Beta's effect, and was able to use their effect in that turn because I had already attempted it, or that they were banished during my opponent's turn and I was able to return them for future use later in the combo. So I'm telling you 100%, listen, it's worth testing. Do I think it's good? But it's worth testing, alright guys? So listen, don't crucify me. This is a 40-card build, and I think it solves an important problem when we're only playing 1 Gamma and 1 Delta. What do we do if those names get hit? We use Beta to bring them on back, alright? Now, it still sucks that this card can't return Medionis, which is BS in my opinion, but hey, you can't have everything. Moving on, triple copies of Ben 10. Bruh, I'm still so hyped to see this. Ben 10 to 3, it makes me excited every time. Look at that queen energy. Queen energy right there, 100%. Ben 10 to 3, you know we already made it happen. I'd like to think that the Drytron community had something to do with Konami's decision there, so cheers to us. 1 Natasha, 100% mandatory. 1 in time, Steel Monsters, blah, blah, blah. You already know this card is goated. If you're not playing Natasha and Drytrons, you're an absolute dingus. Moving on. Perfection is our strat here. Dude, I should have pulled out the ulti for this profile. You know what? Oh, 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. This is going right into the deck. Oh, God, yes. Yeah, yeah, boy. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, one perfection. Perfection is our main boy here, the main piece of the strategy. I've talked about this in the last profile. Perfection is the way to go in a bestial heavy format. Now, will we have to pivot again when the magnificent, marvelous, whatever they're called, maidens or mavens, whatever. Dude, Mama. That's the name of the set. Go running home to Mama. All right, that's the name of the set. When that set comes out, we're going to have to pivot again. I'm letting you guys know right now. I don't even know if perfection is the way to go there. I got to test a heck of a lot more to get ready for it. But right now, in this little interim period, you should be playing the perfection build. I can say that with like 98% confidence that I do believe this is the best way to play the deck currently, okay guys? And we're of course leveraging pre-prep. And I'm choosing to leverage regular prep as well. But I'm gonna talk about that even more depth a little bit later. But yes, one perfection mandatory in this build. One Draco Nits, don't cut it, you already know guys. We gotta play around Scythe, we gotta clear out games. You know, it makes it really easy. Using it as a ritual material from hand sometimes does come up as well. Keep these things in mind, guys. We are absolutely playing the one Draco Nits. Here's our next big divergence from the last list. Triple Orange Light in the main. That's right, I told you we're staying bestial ready, and what's one of the best ways to counter those cards? Freaking Orange Light. Negate and destroy it. With this build, you have the highest probability of opening orange and a live fairy out of any other Drytron build I've ever done, and I'm telling you, it actually works. It's just like how we used to do it when EVO was legal. I sound like a broken record when I talk about this stuff, but it's the truth. There's no better way to be ready for these hand traps than Orange Light. It's an in-archetypal out, and of course, when you open Alpha Zeta Ben 10, you can go Alpha Pitch Ben 10, search another Ben 10 for your Alpha, and then use that Ben 10 to search an Orange Light. Immediately make yourself safe from the bestial cards prior to putting a monster on your field. These are important things to stay aware of. So that's why I'm choosing to max out the Orange Light, because also hard opening it is not a bad thing. We're going to be doing this in style before the Ishizu tier elements do, alright guys? So let's enjoy it while we can, and let's be the real deck that leverages Orange Light the absolute best, alright guys? So we got that in there. Here's one thing I'm thinking about changing. I'm playing one Diviner, but there's been a lot of times where I've missed the second copy in this build. I gotta say that. So if I was to put in the second copy, maybe I could see the case for taking out an Orange Light, and there's one other card I'll mention later that I would consider removing as well. But yes, as of right now, I'm still playing only one Diviner. Think about it like the other Ben 10s are supplementing for it. But at the same time, like, sometimes you wish you had that second time to resolve its effect, or you have to pitch it for an Orange Light early to defend your play, and then you don't have access to it later, which can be frustrating. And without I to 10, it's not as reliable to make a rank 6. These are weird niche situations that do come up. So that's why I'm going to flag my thought process here of there may be a case to play more than one Diviner. But right now we're sticking to it. It's literally our only normal summon in the deck, outside of if you wanted to normal summon Orange Light, which I can see a case for in occasional situations to summon a Sprite Elf. But hey, I'm just flagging all possibilities here, alright? Let's move on. The Super Quant package stays strong here. Bro, we got this card bought out. I don't know if y'all saw Robbie's most recent Market Watch. I don't know how recent it was. But I saw a Market Watch where he talked about how this card's going to the moon. And I'd like to think that the Drytron community has something to do with that. But we are playing the one Alpha and the one Light Layer. I described this in detail in my last profile, so I won't bore you too much. Think about this as new little baby Eva and the card you search off of it. You search it during your combo, it gives you more negates for Perfection and or Orange Light. Same thing goes for Trias Hierarchica. Explained this in the last video. Player on Dark Ruler no more, and it's pretty savage. You send it off Beatrice, it keeps you set up ready to rock and roll. It's a pretty cool interruption. Keep in mind though guys, I don't know if I flagged this in my last video, you got to do this effect during the main phase, okay? You can't wait till battle, so make sure you stay ready and stay aware of that stuff. But this card is still absolutely legendary. Shout out Sorvent. Good call, my brother. Alright, moving on to the spell lineup, 2 copies of Drytron Nova and 2 copies of Fafnir. I was gonna say, for the card I was thinking about cutting for the Diviner, maybe the one of the Fafnirs, but then it's like we're playing only 3 copies of Nova, I don't know, I don't like that especially. Now, I know in this build, and I said this in the last one, that I think that opening up pre-prep is better than opening Alpha Zeta, and I do kind of low-key stick by that in this build. in particular, like you thrive with a one-name hand plus Ben 10 compared to other builds. So I think that's something to really take into consideration, that is more so what we're aiming for than, you know, alpha zeta combos traditionally. And it's a real whole of hand approach when you're doing your combos. So yes, 2 Nova and 2 Fafnir, you could do 1 and 3. It doesn't make that much of a difference. But for me, I'm doing 2 and 2 because Sprite Runic, Sprite variants are still going to be relevant, and having the added interruption effect of the Fafnir is not a terrible thing. It's come up for me a ton. I'm still only playing 1 Medionis. When Mama comes out, we most likely gonna have to bump this up to 2. I'm just being straight with you. I want to get your heads ready for that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna commit to that yet, but there's gonna be so many times that it gets milled off of those Oshizu cards, milling 5 cards out of our own darn deck. Then we still want to have legal search targets for our Zeta. Again, the whole darn build is going to change when that deck comes out. But I'm just preparing you guys for the fact that I might play 2 Medionis in that build. I don't know yet. Just getting you mentally prepared for it. I'm also only doing 2 Cyber Emergencies. Again, this might be a carryover from the last one. I can't exactly remember. But, you know, the whole logic here is, like, I know I'm not playing enough names, guys. You can tell me I'm not playing enough names. That's because my build is built different. We aren't focusing on the names as much as we are on the Perfection package. That's really what this is. This is not just a Drytron deck. This is a Herald of Perfection deck with Drytron cards, alright, guys? But, yeah, I don't want to see multiples of the once per turn cards like Nova and Emergency. That's why they're 2-ofs. Ripping off Shu Ping, maybe 100% back when he was cool and actually played this deck. Moving on. Still love you, Shu Ping, just memeing. 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. I love this card. I've already mentioned how Prep Pre-Prep is my favorite combo in this build. But I'm gonna say something that's worth testing, and shout out to my boy Esteban, because him and I have been talking about this. You might want to consider doing talents in this slot. They serve a similar purpose, resiliency through hand traps, but at the same time they're doing very different things. You can use talents to draw 2, rip a card out of the opponent's hand, take one of their bestial monsters and use it to make Beatrice. Really good, legitimate things. So that's a real reason to consider playing talents in this slot. The other side of that coin is, of course, you got the Prep Pre-Prep combo, locked and loaded. If you get hand trapped on a Ben 10 early, you can use the Prep to bring yourself back into the game. You get the added benefit of being able to add back a Ritual spell off the Preparation of Rites, which lets you Ritual summon again, setting up a Beatrice on your board if you want to Trias Hierarch to contribute it on your opponent's turn and get a free search for an Orange Light. I'm talking so fast, I didn't even know I was capable of talking that fast. But I want to let you guys know that either option is correct in my eyes. I think it's definitely worth testing Triple Tactics talents in this slot. But for now, and in terms of what I'm comfortable with in a definitive build, Prep is better in this build, in my opinion. But let me hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Triple Pre-Prep. We just talked about this in our anti-bestial video. Establishing an early perfection is the greatest defense against the bestial monsters, as well as the greatest offense when it comes to shutting down your opponent, guys. This plays around every hand trap of the gosh darn game. At worst, it baits an Ash. At best, it puts up a perfection and puts up the middle finger in your opponent's face. The one Dawn to go with it. You only play the one that goes with the package. If you open it, it sucks. It definitely sucks. And we're playing a 40-card list, which means we have maximized consistency, which means it's more likely that we're going to open this than we would in a deck that's higher than 40 cards. But that's okay. That's alright, guys, because even if you do hard open this, you can still line up a relatively early perfection without pre-prep. Things to consider, guys. Things to consider. And there are certain lines where you will use Zeta to search Dawn rather than Medionis. Like if you opened up Nova and Fafnir, the ritual spell, or the field spell. That's a time where you'll use your Zeta to search Dawn to get a higher ceiling on your perfection with additional negates. Things to keep in mind, folks. Triple copies of droplets in the main. Dweller is running rampant here, guys, and not only is that bad for us, it's bad for the tier elements too, but it's definitely bad for us. That's why you gotta have the droplets, we gotta stay ready for those shenanigans, and it's just good general blanket negation, okay guys? This is our going second card. Talents could also be a going second card if you put that in the slot of the preps, so things to consider. And finally, the one called by the grave. I'm not playing Foolish. It's unnecessary. It's by far the worst name. Okay, maybe Beta is the worst name, but Foolish, you know, if you top deck it in a bad situation, it does nothing for you. I don't especially like it in this build. I'd much rather have it be at 40 cards. But that is it, baby. 40 cards clean in the main. Let's slide into the extra. Guys, I'm going to speed run this joint because we already went over most of these cards in the last build. But for those who didn't have the chance to see it, I'll show you them right now. After a shameless plug for the GG for Free, our free tournament series, streamed live and through our Discord, be sure to join the Discord, link in the description down below. And I also want to propose something to you guys. I have this awesome artwork from an amazing artist who I'm going to give all the props to when I finish the design for, that I'm thinking about making GG for free field centers for, and maybe field centers to sell to you guys if you would be interested. I need to know if you guys would actually be interested in purchasing custom field centers from yours truly with different, like, you know, Drytron themed stuff on them. You guys let me know in the comments if that would be of interest. If not, you know, we're not going to bother. We'll just continue to do them as prizes for the tournaments. But if that would be of interest, I'm down to order a stock and we can just see how it goes, you know what I mean? You know, I wouldn't be making much off it, but it'd be a cool thing to do, you know, and I love to get some Drytron merch out there, baby. Come on, guys, there's not enough of it. We gotta be repping the Drytrons like absolute kings. The OCG gets sleeves like this. In the TCG, we get nothing. Anyway, enough ranting, let's continue on. 2 copies of Fafnir. This hasn't changed. Shout out Brio. Gorgeous extended art. 2 copies of Fafnir. It's standard. This package low-key kind of sucks right now. We got the Zeus and the Downer, and it's really good in certain matchups, but other matchups like Tier Element, Zeus is one of the worst cards to establish, and when you usually do summon it, it's not a good thing, because you are going to trigger all of their stuff. So this card's going to see a lot less play. It may even be a cuttable slot when we get into the new format with the post-Mama set coming out. So, you know, stay ready. I'm just putting it out there as something to consider. When that deck becomes extremely prevalent, we're going to have to be extra cautious when trying to go for a Zeus play. Moving on, we got the 1 copy of Beatrice, and I got to say, I love this French copy. La Dame. Oh yes, this Dame is an absolute savage, foolish barreling whatever monsters you need in that particular situation. A main play of your main combo line, sending the Trias, Hierarchica, sending additional names, sending that white layer. Oh my god, I'm explaining stuff too much. I don't need to explain Beatrice. 1 Relinquished Anima, you guys already know it goes really well with that Lava Golem in the side and to punish bad players. 1 copy of Sprite Elf, mandatory. Such an essential piece of the end board. Stop your opponent from being able to burn your Herald Negates with things like Imperm on the Perfection. The 1 IP Masquerena. We also got a pretty little French one to go with that, our friend Beatrice, so 100% Bing chilling with that. We got the Nightmare Phoenix, generic spot removal for the back rows, generic spot removal in general with Nightmare Unicorn. There's going to be a lot of times where you want to spin to your element cards or swing over them. Unicorn helps you do that, and obviously it's a target to tag into off the IP. Apollosa, same deal, either an end board piece that is a fairy that can be tributed for Trias Hierarchica if you were to get Dark Ruler No Mordor droplets, and is plenty of negates, a standard end board piece or an IP Masquerena tag out target. Same thing goes for Boral, Sword, Dragon, better than access code in Drytron, 110%. Boral Sword plus a name equals game. Access code plus a name doesn't. It's that simple, alright guys? Do the math. And then the 1 Underworld Goddess, we stick into the game plan on that front, 110%. Finish things off with the diviner targets in the form of the Herald of the Arclight and the Elder Entity, and we're all set, ready to round out that extra deck. I think I took longer on that than I wanted to, because again, it is verbatim the same as the last list. I'm pretty sure I didn't change anything there. But I did make some big changes in the side, and you guys probably saw it if you got keen eyes at the start of the video. If you can't beat them, join them. Well, at the same time, we are treating this card like it's DD Crow. We're siding triple copies of the Magna Mutt, or the Magna Nut, whatever you want to call it, as well as Bystial Druis Worm, alright? So it's just a free search target. Why not get free advantage off after DD Crow and your opponent? But basically it's 4 copies of DD Crow on the side. Now there are some ups and some downs with this package in the side, right? So obviously, let's get the elephant out of the room, out of the way, real quick. You cannot use these on your own turn because it'll lock you out of your Drytron effects. Duh. But here's the bright side. You use them as a hand trap on your opponent's turn. You got a free level 6 to make Beatrice with. A free level 6 that if you needed to tribute it for whatever reason, you could. You know what I mean? It's an additional big beater body. 2,500 attack points. Things to consider. It is not bad. Now that's the benefits over DD Crow. Here are the downsides. You can use DD Crow on your own turn, which comes up a lot, and it makes it a really good 6-card rip. You can normal summon DD Crow and use it to overlay for Moy Beta Fafnir, things you cannot do with the Bystial cards. But I think it's still worth testing, and that's why I'm testing in this build. I've seen moderate success. By that I mean, in my testing, I have seen it once and successfully hit off a tier element card, and it was pretty good in that situation. But I haven't had too much time to test it separately. This is mostly in theory. I want to hear from you guys. Which one do you prefer? Would you rather side the Bystial cards or the DD Crows? I want to hear from you. You let me know. We are still siding the triple copies of Bell, 110% mandatory to deal with them Bystial cards. Again, I think I explained this in my most recent video on anti-Bystial strategies for Drytron. You side out the droplets, you side in the Bells when you are going first against any Bystial deck. And also when you're going second against any tier element deck. After that, I cut it down to 2 lava golems to make room for the Bystial package. You know, it's still sufficient. It's a board clearing card. However, there may be a case for sphere mode. So, you know, pick your poison, pick your preference. The reason why I don't like sphere mode is the fact that you can't Natasha steal it after summoning it. Yeah, I don't think you can anima it either, so those are some of the downsides. And we are still siding the 1 Lancia. I think the Lancia is mandatory because Flunder is going to be such a big darn thing. I think there's also a case to be made for main decking at least 1 copy of Lancia. All things you have to stay aware of and things to consider, but this card is mandatory whether it be in the main or the side. We got to stay ready for that pain in the butt matchup that is Flunder. I hate them. I don't want to give them respect, but we have to because they're really good and really cheap and broke people are going to play it. I'm just kidding. No disrespect. No disrespect to Flunder players, or all the disrespect, I don't know. Whichever side of the camp you fall on. Triple copies of Cosmic Cyclone on the side deck. Runic is still a real deck, right? And they can protect their field spell. That's why Twin is not the way. We got to go with the Cosmics. We got to knock that joint out of the park when we need to. Same deal against Flunder. We got to hit that trap card in the standby phase. We got to stay ready with these things. So that's why the triple Cosmic is mandatory in my opinion. Finally, to round out the side deck, we got the 2 copies of Evenly Matched. Again, I probably prefer to have this be a 3 of. If I was doing the DD Crows instead of the Bystials in the side, obviously the slot that the Worm is taking the place of would be the 3rd Evenly Matched. But this card's an insane blowout against the tier elements that are still not ending on an actual proper Omni Negate, so you can blow out boards of theirs that are bigger. It's really good against the Flunders. It's really good against those back row decks. The Runic deck, it's okay against, depending on the variant. The Sprite deck, not as good, but there's still a lot of situations where Evenly is an astounding blowout. Highly recommend playing this card on your side. Alright, that's it for the profile, guys, but we're not done with the video yet. It wouldn't be a LoganJYA deck profile without a little bit of extra content, which means we're going to do some test hands for you. I'm going to show you what those M boards look like in a realistic situation, and we may play around some interruption in there. You know, let's find out. Let's get into it. Alright, homies, I gave the deck a good pile shuffle off camera, you're gonna have to believe me, and I'm giving it some riffles before we dive into some legit test hands, and I'm just gonna do whatever I can with the hand that we're given, and I'll try and pump out the best board possible. So I'm gonna give it a few more, give it a final cut. There we go. Alright, let's see how we open with this first test hand. We got Alphen, Zeta, Prep, Zeta, Nova. Holy smokes, this is good. And again, this is going to be kind of a stream of consciousness type thing, so I'm going to kind of be thinking through the plays while we're doing them. Looking at this hand, though, this is freaking feisty. This is nice. Now, here's the thing. In a Bystial format, with the existence of those cards, the last thing I want to do is start with that Nova until I've got like a live orange light or a perfection to kind of go with it. So I'm going to take that into consideration when I'm doing these plays. I think, in my opinion, the first thing I'm going to do is actually throw out the Prep now. Now, you could say that's a bit of a waste, but I think not. I think it's actually worth it to line up a early orange light for this combo, because what I want to do next is go Zeta effect, pitch off that Ben 10 like so, use it to grab Medionis. Let's see where we can find that at. Grab Medionis, and then Ben 10 effect, we'll grab Orange Light. So now we should be safe going forward. We've got a monster established on the field. They wouldn't be able to Bestial out the Ben 10 before getting its effect, so we're good on that front. Moving on, the next thing I'm going to do now that we're safe on that front is go for the Nova. And with this Nova, I am going to summon out our buddy Alpha. Alpha Thubin right onto the board like so. Next, I'll overlay these two into a Moy Beta. Now, wouldn't be unfortunate to get impermed here. Yeah, it wouldn't be the greatest thing in the world, but we can utilize the Moy Beta to take a dump, and we'll take a dump of Gamma. Gamma is usually the first, like the third name that you want to access. Delta is nice, and Beta, it just exists for its general purpose of either being the fifth name if you can actually resolve 5 names, or for putting stuff back if stuff gets banished. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on from here, we got the Gamma lined up. Next thing I'm going to do is use that Meteonis, specifically detaching the Alpha, pretty important here, guys, and summoning back that Ben 10 like so. So that'll go to the grave like that. Then I will use the effect of the Alpha in the grave, pitching off that Ben 10 to special summon itself. And here's the things that we're going to search. For the Alpha, I am going to grab a Ben 10. And for the Ben 10, I'm going to grab Diviner, just like so. So again, I'm keeping that orange light and that Alphin on the side right now, so you guys know that the entirety of this play we are safe from minimum 1 Bystial or 1 Nibiru or any one hand trap. We can use these freely at any one point where we would be interrupted. Next, I'll use Meteonis, reduce Alpha, add itself back to the hand, and here I'm taking a quick thing. Normal summon Diviner is definitely the next move here, and we'll use Diviner's effect to send Herald. I'll use the Herald's effect here. I think I want to grab Dawn of the Herald, because I think I can set up a Dawned Perfection. Let me think about this. I'll go Meteonis effect, bring back another Ben 10. I can use Gamma's effect, tributing that Ben 10. That Ben 10 will then search, and I'll have another Ben 10 in rotation. Abso-freaking-lutely. So here's the thing. By doing so, we do give up the Beatrice, but we do have additional negates for the Perfection. That is the contrast there, because if I summon back a Ben 10 and then proceed to tribute it off, it's the same thing as, you know, not having access to the Beatrice. So we'll be a little less resilient to Dark Ruler outside of having multiple orange lights, because we're not going to be done with these ones. But that's the play I'm going to go for. I'm going to go Meteonis effect, detach, special summon out that Ben 10, like so, and then the next step, you know, we're done with Meteonis, no more Meteonises for the turn. We'll go Gamma effect, tribute off that Ben 10, special summon itself in Zeta, and then I'll use Ben 10's effect here to search Perfection, like so. That's weird. I usually don't play with the ulti, so that's a little different for me, seeing that one in there. Now, thinking about it like this, the Diviner is officially tribute fodder, so just keeping that fact in mind, and our board is 100% full, so we got to start making room now. We've got options. We've got 100% options here. Again, we aren't going for the Beatrice. If we want to, we could just suck up 4 monsters right now into a 4-piece Apollousa, and that wouldn't even be bad. Like, that'd be actually kind of decent. First, I'll take 2 names, and I'll turn them into a Nightmare Phoenix on the top, and then I'll take the Phoenix and the Alpha, turn it into a Sprite Elf, like so. Then I'll take the 2 underneath it, turn them into an IP Masquerena. We're basically just using up all this fodder, and then go Dawn of the Herald, pitch the Ben 10, special summon it over here, and we'll use Ben 10 Chainlink 1, Dawn Chainlink 2, add back the Ben 10, and then search out either White Layer or another orange light. It's up to you, honestly, in this situation. Was there a bunch of other routes we could have taken to line up this board? 100%. But this is the route that I kind of went with and kind of talked through my thought process as we were doing the plays. This is weird for me. This is a different style than I'm used to for doing at the end of these deck profiles. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. And obviously this is uninterrupted. So again, the last card in hand would either be another orange light, so you'd have 2 orange lights through a potential Dark Ruler or droplets, or you would have the White Layer in hand, which gives you 1 orange light, but an extra negate for the Perfection. So either way works, either one is fine, and of course on top of that we've got Elf, which can bring back Diviner on the opponent's turn for a free pop, and then we have the IP that can tag out into either Apollousa or Underworld Goddess or Boral Sword, whatever's most applicable in the situation. This was just like one example of a board to build. There's a heck of a lot more, so let's do another one. Alright folks, I am back at it again, shuffling up to the best of my abilities, really getting everything nice and random in there after that last one. Let's see what we can do. Hang on, final cut. There we go. Let's see what we can do with this test hand. We got Ben 10, Alpha, Nova, Delta, and Pre-Prep. Okay, this is going to be a good example of a bust a nut kind of hand. This is as good as it gets. This is like 3 names plus Ben 10 plus Pre-Prep. Listen, is this the most applicable thing in the world? Not really, because this is optimal circumstance. But at the same time, it's good to know what you can do when you have it all available at your disposal. So, without further ado, let's just freaking rail into it. It's going to be pretty easy. Start things off with a prep. Grab ourselves our friend Herald of Perfection and Dawn. It's chilling right next to each other, apparently. Like so. Then we'll cast out that Dawn. Pitch off the Ben 10, special summon the Perfection. Literally first thing. Now, if they ask you on prep, who cares? You still have a 3-name hand plus Ben 10. That's like, cool, thanks for burning your ash. Let's run through the rest of our combo. Now, if they hit you with 2 more hand traps after that, then I could see it getting a little dicey. But this hand is so good, it's hard to lose with. It's genuinely hard to lose with. Always, we go Ben 10, Chain Link 1, Dawn, Chain Link 2. So Dawn chain blocks for the Ben 10 and adds it back to hand. And then Ben 10 will search either white layer or orange light. It really doesn't matter which one you line up. In this situation, I'll line up the white layer first. It doesn't make much of a darn difference. So next step, oh my god, the hand is so flipping good. I'm literally losing my mind. We're 100% safe from Bystial cards. We literally don't have to give a crap. It's literally as free as it gets. I think I'll just go for Alpha next, knock off that Ben 10 like so. And then this will search another copy of Ben 10, and then we'll use that first Ben 10's effect to grab ourselves our first copy of Orange Light. Just line it up early. Again, we want to set ourselves up for success with those backup plans in hand like so. Now, this is, again, going to be such a diabolical hand. We're literally going to have access to all 5 names. I'm going to use Nova, and Nova will summon out Gamma in this situation. You'll see why. We'll summon that Gamma, and then I'll overlay the Gamma and the Alpha into the Moy Beta. 100% safe here so far. We'll use Moy Beta's effect to Foolish. I'm going to send Zeta here. And then we'll use Zeta's effect to pitch the Ben 10 that we searched earlier from our hand. Now look at this. We're also keeping 2 fairies in hand in case they have Nib Imperm, which would be some BS, but we got to stay ready for that. So we'll use Zeta pitching that Ben 10. Zeta will grab Medionis here. Again, guys, I'm sorry if it's a little gorilla or hard to follow here because I am doing this as a stream of consciousness, but I think this is a fun way to kind of like learn my headspace while we're playing through the combos. And then we use Ben 10's effect. Ben 10 searches Diviner right here. 100% we're searching Diviner. So that's what we do with that. And next, we can normal summon that Diviner, use its effect, send off the Herald, like so. And we're literally going to run through all the Ben 10s too, because there's no reason not to. There's literally no reason not to. Grab another copy of Ben 10 for 100% free. And we'll use our first Medionis like so. Detach off Moy Beta, summon back that Ben 10. Now here's the thing, I flooded the board a little bit. I'm looking at this now, I definitely flooded the board a little too much, a little too early. So I think maybe if, with the benefit of hindsight, probably should have went for, before normal summoning the Diviner, summoned out the Ben 10. No. All right, whole point is, it's all good. We can save it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Zeta and I'm just going to turn it into an Anima on the top exclusively for the purpose of making room and living up the Gamma in our graveyard like so. So we're making room, and here's another reason to do that. We're going to take the Diviner and the Ben 10, overlay them on this side for the Beatrice. And why are we doing that over here? It's important because that is going to be the spot that is defended by our Sprite Elf when we end on it. So I'll use Ladame's effect to Foolish Burial. This is going to give us our next name, which will be Delta. Oh wait, Delta's in our hand? Holy smokes, we're sending Beta! We're actually sending Beta, unironically. We're using every freaking name. That's crazy. I kind of forgot that we opened Delta. So, how applicable is this really? I'm honestly going to have to take a quick think here. What do we want to end on? Do we want to end on Apo? Do we want to end on Apo, or do we want to end on Elf? That's one of those tricky things, like, because we could do either pretty safely. Now, I think we have all 3 Ben 10s in Roto at the moment. We do. I'll reduce Moy Beta, add this back to the hand. We're going to be linking off that Moy Beta anyway. And then I'll use the Medionis. Do I want to do that? I'm thinking if I want to use that Medionis yet, because what we might just do here is we can use Beta's effect to pitch off the Delta and get that free summon, and then we'll use the Delta's effect to tribute the Ben 10 and get that free draw off of it, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Right, so I will use Beta, tribute the Delta from hand, summon itself back, and then I'll link these 2 off into Nightmare Phoenix, similarly to what we did earlier, just to make room and to use the Nightmare Phoenix as a generic link too, to go into the Elf at a later point in the play. So obviously the Beta served no purpose except as an extender and to make our Delta live for the draw. So we use Delta's effect, tribute the Ben 10 from hand, and then reveal the Medionis. We'll draw a blank card, and then we'll use Ben 10's effect to search. And here I'm going to search the second copy of Orange Light 100,000%. Now, mind you, we still have 1 Medionis summon, and we have still yet to use Gamma. So we can go even further beyond. I'm trying to think right now what we want to go for here. It's so flipping good. Like, it's literally too good. We could do these 2 into Elf, and then if I Medionis out Ben 10 and then tribute it for Gamma, we will be 1 shy of having the full nut set up because I won't have the last extender. So here's how I'm going to set it up. I'm going to link those 2 off into Elf, like so, and we'll go for, I think we can go for Elf plus IP pretty easily here, while still keeping the Beatrice and Perfection online. So what I'm going to do is, I'll use the Medionis next, I'll detach off the Moy Beta, I will summon back that Beatrice like that Ben 10 like so. I'll use the effective Gamma in the grave, tributing off that Ben 10 to summon back itself and any name, doesn't matter who, and then Ben 10 will net us one more search for one more card of our choosing. And what am I going to choose in this situation? I'm actually going to go for Natasha here, right? So here's the idea. We could go for another orange light, but we wouldn't have it be a third live orange light through Dark Ruler No More Droplets. It would just kind of really not be serving that much of a purpose. The purpose that Natasha serves here is its guaranteed follow-up. We already have the alpha in hand, so it doesn't really matter that much, but the whole point is it's a good practice to keep either a ritual monster or a Drytron in your hand in case your board is broken. Think of it as like a contingency plan is the best way to describe it. Anyway, moving on from there, I'll leave the Zeta on board. It's just a free extra body that we had the room for, and I'll make the IP over here just as Logan planned, with one major exception. I summoned the elf on the wrong damn side. The elf should probably be summoned over here if we're doing things really correctly. We want it to defend the Perfection more so than the Beatrice. So you're literally seeing me biff live through the process, but 100%. Like, that was literally just an oversight on my part. I was going through this whole combo, and I talked about it in the video. Yeah, it's pretty important that you get to use the elf to stop your opponent from burning imperms on your Perfection. Whole point is, summon it over here, okay, guys? I'm saying it now. Make sure the elf is protecting that Perfection so you don't have to waste negates on things like imperm. But what are we ending on here? Again, I told you, this was like as good as it gets in terms of hands. So what do we have here? We've got, during the opponent's draw phase, Beatrice effect, send that Trias Hierarchica, like so, to the graveyard. So that gives us another form of interruption. And the cool, crazy part is, so we've got, let's just do a quick head count here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because this also will get Alphan, 5 Perfection negates. That's shy of one card from their hand, so that's every card in their hand could theoretically be negated. We have the potential to tag out the IP for an Apo for either 3 or 4, like for Freezies, or for Unicorn, or for Underworld Goddess. It literally, like, the world is our oyster with this situation. It doesn't get much better. And here's the cool thing. I want to flag this too. If we use Elf to bring back Diviner for its pop effect on the opponent's turn, at any point, then we contribute it and the Beatrice for bringing back Trias to get the free pop. And if we got Dark Rulered, then we contribute the Beatrice and the Perfection. And if we somehow used up all 5 negates and didn't win yet, we contribute all 3 of them and turn them into the Trias and get a free draw 2 on top of that. Another thing you contribute with Trias is Apollosa, because it is also a fairy. Let's do one more. This one was crazy. It's got me way too hyped. Let's do one more. All right, guys, here we go. Last one of the video. We're going to take a look at this test hand. It's already looking juicy. Yeah, it is pretty darn juicy. I'm not going to lie to you, folks. This is a good hand, even though it's a little redundant with the fact that we got Alpha, Zeta, Ben 10, Zeta, and Fafnir. It's a little name heavy, but I'm not going to complain. So the first thing I'm going to do is, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to go Alpha effect, tribute off that Ben 10, which will give us the Ben 10's effect on resolution. Wait, what the fuck? What the f...
No.
What the f... What's this shit? Fuck. Alright, well, I guess we're getting DD crowed on Ben 10, so get out of here. Whatever. Alright, so be it. We play through interruptions. We don't care. So Alpha tributes Ben 10. The Ben 10 ends up getting DD crowed. So freaking be it. We're going to still add Ben 10 off of that search 100%. Are we going to be less safe with this hand? Yeah, we're going to be less safe with this hand, but that's alright. I think with this particular strategy, we got a few things we could do. We could use the Fafnir to search Medionis and then not have to search it off Zeta, which means we could then theoretically line up a Dawned Perfection. I could show you that. Or we could use the Fafnir to get Nova and hard hold the remainder of the turn. I'm a little iffy on which one I prefer to do in this situation. I think the long hold on the Fafnir is safer, but the Zeta getting Dawn is more high ceiling. So it's like either way. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to do the high ceiling example for you right now, and we'll see how it goes, but I'll tell you a little bit more at the end about what I would do differently if I was trying to play it safer. We already got DD crowed, so how much worse is it going to get? We'll go Zeta's effect, tribute Ben 10. If they Bystial you here, might as well cry, because now we're out of Ben 10 access. We can still end on Draconids, just putting that out there. So we'll go Zeta tribute Ben 10. I'll use the Zeta to actually grab the Dawn of the Herald in this situation, and I'll use the Ben 10 to search out. It doesn't, we want to search perfection here, if we're doing it the way that I just said earlier. Because next step is, we'll overlay from Moy Beta. Again, this is not the safest route, but I'm showing you the more high ceiling route with this one. Go for Moy Beta. Moy Beta effect, we'll Foolish Burial. Usual deal. We're going to send Gemma. We are going to send Gemma. If I can only find it. See, when playing it as a one of makes these things tricky. There we go. We'll send Gemma, like so, to the grave. Next, I will use that Fafnir in hand and use Fafnir to search Meteonis that way. And now you'll see why. Go Meteonis, like so. This is 1, 2, 3. That'll be 4th. 5th summon will be perfection, but it technically won't be a live perfection until the Dawn resolves. So it's not exactly an Nibiru safe either. You'd have to hope that you scare them. Anyway, Meteonis, detach, summon back the Ben 10, and then go Dawn of the Herald this way. Again, this is the more high ceiling version of the combo. Ben 10, Chainlink 1, Dawn, Chainlink 2, Dawn banish to add back Ben 10, and then Ben 10 effect searching. You could either go White Layer or Diviner here. It doesn't really matter. I will probably go White Layer first. Our next Ben 10 search gets us Diviner, which we'll be triggering right now by going Gamma effect, tribute off the Ben 10, special summoning itself, and Zeta. Using Ben 10's effect in the grave, that'll grab Diviner like so. Where are you, Queen? There you are. Get in here. There we go. Next, I'll redeem my Meteonis effect in grave, reducing that Gamma to add it back to my hand. I'll normal summon the Diviner, use its effect. I will send Herald of the Arclight like so, and use Herald's effect to search. This will grab us another copy of Ben 10. I think this will be the last one since we got DD crowed by that freaking weirdo. Add that to my hand, and then we'll take these two guys. You can either turn them into an IP. That's what I'm going to do this time. I turn it into an IP, and if I want to, I can use the IP to make the elf later, and we can bring back the elf on the opponent's turn with the Genius Logan. That's pretty good idea, because next we'll go Meteonis, detach off Moy Beta like so, summon back the Ben 10 that's in our graveyard. We'll overlay these two guys into the Beatrice, and then Beatrice effect can send us Delta or Beta. It doesn't really matter. In this situation, we're not going to get the draw for either one. Or we're not going to get the draw for Delta because I don't have an additional target in hand. But that's okay because we'll use Delta's effect, tributing off that Ben 10 like so, special summoning itself out to the board, and then use Ben 10's effect to search, grabbing us the orange light as the official backup plan, just like that. Now here's the thing, we got options, right? I got options. All right, we could go take these two and use it to make Elf, and that will give us the targeting protection on both of these guys, as well as the ability to summon back either Diviner or whatever you want to summon back, you can summon back off of it. Or we could take all four and turn them into Apo, and then when the Beatrice sends Trias Hierarchica, we have an automatic ready-to-go draw 3. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave the Moy Beta on field. I'm going to take the IP and put it in the grave, and I will line up the Elf like so. So again, we got it protecting these guys, and when we pass turn to the opponent, we hit them with the Beatrice in their draw phase. This will send the Trias, lining us up with the backup plan, and we're kind of ready to rock and roll from there. So we got 3 perfection negates minimum. We've got an elf that can bring back either Diviner or IP, whichever one we prefer for that situation. We got Trias locked and loaded in the graveyard. This is pretty good. And if all else fails, you know, if we get Dark Rulered, we got the Trias and we've got the Orange Light backing it up and guaranteed follow-up. What more could you ask for? Guys, this has been a marathon of a video, so I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more Drytron videos and Minecraft tutorials. That's all I got today, guys. LoganJYA signing off. Have a happy holiday, you know, Halloween, all that good stuff. Signing off. Have a great day. I will see you chumps later. Peace.
約束四角い空心の隙間埋め